So, hello everybody. Today I'm doing the long-awaited Meg review, and I'm doing it now because I'm going insane and I'm trapped inside my house all the time because of social distancing and self-isolation and all that fantastic junk going on. But I'm doing it in my car because if I stay inside a minute longer, I think I am going to lose my fucking mind. The most fearsome predator in history is no longer history. 7 miles down on a top secret dive into the Pacific's deepest trench, Commander Jonas Taylor comes face to face with the largest and most ferocious predator ever to inhabit the planet. Carcharodon megalodon, the 60-foot, 70,000-pound prehistoric ancestor of the great white shark. Jonas escaped with his life, the dive's sole survivor, but his Navy career was over. His nightmare encounter written off as a hallucination. But Jonas knows what he saw was real. He's determined to prove it, that the megalodon still feeds on the ocean's unexplored depths. Now, after 7 years of research and study, he finally has his chance to return to the abyss. Diving deeper than ever before, Jonas will face terror like he's never imagined. The Meg is about to surface, and when she does, nothing and no one is going to be safe. You know, except for like those people on land. Anyway, this book is kind of popular. It's even got a movie made about it, which you probably see with Jason Statham. It is loosely based on it. Usually when you get an action movie based off a book, the action movie is a lot crazier. No, not the case. This book is fucking insane. LA Times did a review on it, and its review is summarized as 2 words. Jurassic Shark. Anyway, this book is fucking insane, so I thought while I'm trapped inside, slowly losing my mind, I may as well do a review of it, because that's a good idea. Okay, so this is the most fucking insane book I've actually ever read in my entire life. Are you familiar with the book Good Omens? How it's got this extremely strategic, elaborate plot of sort of insane things happening, but they all just loop in such a neat little messy kind of way. This book doesn't do that. This book does the exact fucking opposite of that. I have a very keen feeling that when this guy, Steve Alton, was writing this book, he very much took the approach of, I'm the author,
and I can do whatever the fuck I want.
And it is absolutely amazing. I cannot get over how good this book actually was. It is stupid, it is ridiculous, it is preposterous, but it is amazing. The first scene I would like to talk about in this book is actually a pretty well written scene. It's the only scene I feel like I could really take this scene and put it in a different book. It's the moment when I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it's early on where he just sort of realizes what's going on, and the main character's just like, oh no. This has all been my fault. I have made a very poor decision based on 1 second of my life where I was under extreme stress, and I basically destroyed my life and basically the lives of everyone around me. And it's the only scene in this book where I could almost like take it and put it into another book about a guy who's really like struggling with mental health issues and trying to get into recovery, and it would fit in. But in this book they do that scene and then they go, but hey, look over there. As it turns out, it is the Meg. You were right all along, my friend. You're fantastic and successful. It has amazing action sequences in it. So usually when you're going for like this sort of like fast-paced, sort of like almost fantastical action sequence sort of book, you always run the issue of going too far. Because like you never want to take away and be like, nah, that wouldn't happen, that just wouldn't happen. But I think because this book never actually saw to like meet that towards a realistic expectation, you never have that moment. Like crazy stuff happens in this book. People do crazy things. But I'm just thinking, oh, cool, instead of, no, that wouldn't happen, which I've had in other action books before. But this is the first time where I've read these crazy sequences and just been like, that's amazing. Because it's just fun. Instead of like trying to go for a logical or realistic version of how these things could happen, it fully embraces the insanity of the book itself. The book literally opens with the Meg fighting a T-Rex. And it's just like this T-Rex like paddles out into the water, and then it's like, this was a mistake. And then the Meg and the T-Rex fight each other, and it's amazing. And then it just zooms out, revealing that it was all this just projected that this professor's done. It's like, yeah, that's totally unrealistic. Could never happen in real life. But hey, wasn't it cool? How cool was that? Sometimes it's nice to just have something that's fun. And I really like that self-awareness in this book. I think that's what helps carry it across. The fact that this book is never trying to make itself more realistic or try to deny what it is. The fact that it's just fully swinged in and embraced the whole idea behind this insane shark tale. I do have one negative about this book. With this kind of book, it's kind of hard to point out negatives because what would normally be character flaws, characters and story flaws are designed really well in this and almost strategically placed because of the insanity and the novelty of the Meg itself. So it's really hard to call out those flaws, but there is one I would like to call out, which is in regarding to one particular character. So something this book does is instead of portraying characters, it portrays essentially cartoons. Where you're like, oh hey, he's the good guy. He's Indiana Jones of the ocean. Oh, he's the smart professor dude. He's a good guy. Oh, that guy's rich and he's kind of a douche. He's the bad guy. And it really does a good job of quickly associating you with like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And that's really good when you're having like a large vacuum of characters of which are going to interact in such a short period of time. The only issue I have with that is in regards to the reporter, because she's portrayed as, how do I say this gently, a bitch. She's portrayed as the bitch character who's just like, I'm gonna get the story no matter what. It's my story. I don't care who gets hurt. I don't care who I have to use, but it's my story and I'm gonna tell it. And she's sort of portrayed as one of the bad guys throughout the majority of the novel. My only issue with this is in her second last chapter, not to give away any spoilers what happens, maybe she just retires from reporting, who knows. But in her second last chapter, there's a scene with her and her ex-husband where they have this moment of realization where they're just like, this isn't gonna work, nothing's gonna happen. And normally that would be good, but because once again, these haven't been developed as real people, it felt really undeserved and unearned. Especially because there's no motivation for these characters to have this interaction. There was no motivation for these characters to be like, oh, yeah, I understand you and you understand me. There's no real understanding there. And so it was the one bit where it's like they broke from that cartoon sort of fold that kind of, I felt kind of hurt the book and the story overall. Outside of that, I think this was an extremely good book. If you notice in the description down below, there'll be a spoiler warning. Go to that time code below and that's how you're going to avoid spoilers, because I'm about to talk about spoilers in the book. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to talk about some specific scenes because there are some really amazing scenes in this book. For starters, the humans aren't the main character, the Meg is. And by that I don't mean you're seeing the Meg's perspective so much, but you're always following the Meg. There's actually a period of time in the book where the Meg doesn't appear for 6 months, and instead of following the humans for that time, it just cuts to 6 months later. When the Meg goes to a beach, you don't follow the main humans, you follow the people on the beach. When you go to the scene with the Navy, you don't follow the main humans again, you're following the Navy. And I really like that because it really allowed you to follow the natural storyline of the Meg itself, opposed to these humans just observing it. But it also made for some amazing chapters, such as the surf competition. Basically what the surf competition is, this fucking amazing chapter in this book, is the surf competition is essentially where there's one guy, and it's like, it's so dramatically written. He's like, I'm going home every year, me and my brothers, we surf in this surfing competition together because we are in fact surfers, and that's what's happening. And then he gets there and he's like, my brother, he's a straight shooter. The other one's down on his luck, but I'm sure he's gonna recover soon. And it's very cartoonishly written and very amazing. And then he's like, he goes to the beach and then he's like, oh my God, there's my high school crush. I've never seen her in a bikini before. Oh. By the way, he's 20, he's coming back for this. And then he's like, that guy over there, he's bad news. He tries to be a gangster. He's got a van and it's got the drugs and the guns in it, and he's not good. And it's very clearly established these characters. And then they go out surfing and the bad guy's surfing with them. And this bad guy, you can tell he's gonna die straight away because he's only actually got 2 lines in this book itself. He pushes the guy out of the way, barging through on his surfboard, and looks at Dylan and goes, she's out of your league. And Dylan's like, what the f? And he goes, blonde, don't even bother. And then obviously, because like, given a horrible line, he immediately dies. And then Dylan's like, oh my God.
They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. me!
Oh no, the Meg, he ate him, and now he's gonna eat me. I need to get to shore. I'm gonna have to race the Meg in on this wave on my surfboard. And he does it. He starts racing the Megalodon, this giant shark, on his fucking surfboard. And he's like racing, and he's winning. He's winning. He's beating the shark, which is ridiculous enough in itself. And then, as he's doing that, he's like, oh no, the wave's dying. I'm not gonna make it in time. And then his brother is just like, hey, I got a jet ski, it's cool, and just matches out on a jet ski. And he has to jump from his surfboard onto the brother's jet ski to get back into shore. And then everyone like claps and gives him the surfing competition trophy. And then his crush comes up and hugs him. And then he's like, so what are you doing later tonight? And that's the chapter. That's the whole chapter. It has nothing to do with the rest of the book. It has nothing to do with what happened before in the book. The only connection is the Meg, and that's amazing. The fact that this book can just do that and get away with it is sick as shit. And the final scene I would like to talk about in this sort of spoiler section is the fucking yacht scene. So basically in this book, there's a scene where the heroes could have won. Everything lines up for their ultimate victory. It's like, we don't even have to kill it. We can capture it. It's an animal. We can just lure it back over here. And they go to do that, and they're doing it, and it's amazing that they're being successful in this. And then out of nowhere, one salty boy on a yacht is just like, I choose the path of gasoline and fire. And just kicks a fucking barrel of gasoline into the ocean. And it's like, this will surely kill the Meg, and lights it on fire. And obviously, it doesn't. It just creates chaos, and the Meg's just like, freaks the fuck out of the Meg, and the Meg just starts killing people. But I love that as the lead into the final conclusion, because it's an epic way to represent the whole book, where it's just like, they could have had a solution, but someone just comes in and is like, no, I got gasoline. I think I got this. Anyway, what I'm saying is I really like this book. In conclusion, I don't think this was the smartest book, but I think it was fun and strategically written the way it was. And I do recommend it. I give it 5 Megalodons out of 5 Megalodons. If that's rating system, who knows? But it was a hella fun book. I highly recommend you buy. Next time on Book Review.
I'm sorry, but it looks like she won't be experiencing her twilight years.
Homo Man!